Hey guys, I got fed up with Spotify recently and I've switched to another app for music called Musical.ly. There are a few reasons for this, so let's get into it. Firstly, price. Musical.ly is free to download and free to use, no ads or anything. Versus currently Spotify is 12 quid in the UK, I think it's $12 in America. The second reason is Musical.ly runs completely offline, it doesn't use any data and you can have it in airplane mode all day long. Spotify does have an offline mode, but it's not as good. It does use your data because it has to download albums in advance. And also, you have to be prepared, you have to think ahead and download those albums before you switch to airplane mode. The third reason is the interface, which for Musical.ly loads instantly and is nice and simple to use and quick to find things. Also, it doesn't use many resources on your phone, so if you're listening to music while you do other things, it's great for that. I don't find Spotify as quick, it's a little bit slower to load, it's not as fast to find things, and it uses more resources on your phone. Going back to the first reason for price, I mainly listen to 90s music, so I've already bought and paid for a bunch of CD albums. And then I rip those to MP3 and I have got the MP3 albums saved on a hard drive. And that's actually how Musical.ly works. You put your MP3s onto a micro SD card, put the micro SD card in your phone, and then Musical.ly reads it from there. It irks me to pay a monthly fee for music that I've already paid for in the past, and most of the time I listen to the same stuff anyway, so it doesn't really make sense to be forking out 12 quid a month when I'm just listening to things that I've paid for before, and I probably just listen to most of the same albums most of the time anyway. With regards to data, Musical.ly uses zero data once you've downloaded it. You can be working completely in airplane mode. If you've got a limited amount of data each month, then you don't have to worry about burning through any of that streaming music. With Spotify, you can change the quality settings so it uses less data. If you're streaming with Spotify for a couple of hours, it can be surprising how much data it does actually burn through. And if you're doing that every day over the course of the month, it does add up. And then also, if you're going to be flying, you're going to have to switch to airplane mode. You don't have to worry about being prepared and deciding in advance what albums you're going to listen to. With Musical.ly, it'll just read it off your SD card, so there's no issue there. You can have it in airplane mode the whole time. With Spotify, you need to plan ahead, use your data to download any albums you're going to be listening to later. And if you've already on the plane and you've got your airplane mode on, you decide you want to listen to something else that you didn't think of before, you're not going to be able to do it on Spotify. Going back to the interface, Musical.ly loads instantly when you press on the app. It's nice and simple to use, you can find stuff really easily. There's no lag to it because it doesn't use many system resources, and it's got more advanced features under the bonnet. If you want to go behind the scenes and change things, you can do that, but most of the default settings are pretty sensible, so you don't really need to change anything. Personally, I find Spotify can be a little bit slow to load. It's not always that easy to find the exact thing that I'm looking for. I think it uses more of your system resources, probably because it's streaming. It just uses a bit more of your phone resources as well, so then your phone's going to be slower. If you're trying to multitask, then your phone takes longer to do other things as well. So overall, I think even if Spotify was free, I'd probably just use Musical.ly most of the time. The only time that Spotify is going to be useful is if it's new music that you haven't got on MP3 and you want to listen to that. But most of the time, I actually prefer to use Musical.ly, so I'm using that from now on, and I recommend you give it a try.